I want to talk about pretty much forced assimilation. That's what it is living in the U.S. now. As people that I know that are homeless and struggling, and they're forced to assimilate to less benefits for the homeless. Let me explain. Okay. First of all, during COVID and other times, sometimes there's vouchers, sometimes there's money from the federal government, sometimes there's money from the state government, sometimes there's cash raised through other means. Okay, and places that can be rented out for shelters, things like that. A lot of those places were taken. Money was spent, upwards of $1 billion in Massachusetts, where I live. And so people that were homeless were kind of forced to assimilate. In fact, they had less opportunities than they had previously. Okay, and then you got the sick thing that I think of forced assimilation that we were put through is having to put up with them spending all that money when they could have bought. If they weren't there to begin with, these illegal aliens, okay, if they weren't in there, that we'd have another $1 billion to spend, and it could have been spent on shelters. It could have been spent to fix the homeless. $1 billion is a lot of money, and I'm sure that is a low estimate of the cost. Now, during this forced assimilation, there's just less of everything for them, okay? Less socks, less in the food pantries. SNAP, I'm sure has to be cut somewhat, maybe even because of this. I mean, being put up in hotels, some of them actually luxury hotels, for years. Now, I lived with some people that were refugees from Afghanistan, and they were put in hotels, and I also went and visited. He was going to help a friend from Afghanistan drive. The guy was going to pay him. And I asked him, how long have you been in this hotel? And he said, it's been 2 years. And I said, wow, well, you haven't got a job yet or nothing? And what's going on with that? He's like, well, I'm looking here and there. And it's like, they'll take everything and anything. And crime, let's not even talk about the crime, okay? Let's not do it. Let's talk about having to try to understand somebody that speaks a different language. And that is not even trying to learn our language. How many jobs can that person get? How productive can he really be? If he does not learn the language, we're forced to have to deal with a person sometimes that we just can't understand. There's only so much reduced housing, Section 8. And now they're all going to be on the list for that too now. So it's also ruined housing.